If you're the kind of person who buys an iPhone every year, hoping this is the one that finally feels new, the iPhone 18 might be the most confusing Apple launch we've ever seen because, for the first time, Apple isn't just changing a feature, they're changing the entire way you buy an iPhone, and it directly affects when you should upgrade, what you'll pay, and whether waiting actually makes sense. Apple is planning to unveil the iPhone 18 lineup in September 2026, but here's the weird part. Not all of them are coming out at the same time. Some iPhones will drop like usual in the fall, and others won't show up until months later. That alone should already raise eyebrows because Apple never does this unless something big is going on behind the scenes. And yeah, something big is going on. Apple is finally doing a foldable iPhone. The full iPhone 18 lineup is expected to be massive. We're talking about the iPhone 18, a cheaper iPhone 18e, an iPhone 18 Air, the iPhone 18 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the brand new foldable iPhone, which people are calling the iPhone Fold for now because Apple hasn't locked in a name yet. That's a lot of phones, and Apple clearly doesn't want them all competing with each other at the same time. So here's the new strategy. In fall 2026, Apple will launch the more expensive models first. The iPhone 18 Pro, Pro Max, the iPhone 18 Air, and the foldable iPhone. Then, months later, in spring 2027, Apple will release the standard iPhone 18 and the cheaper iPhone 18e. If you want a new iPhone during the normal September hype season, you'll be pushed toward the expensive models. If you want something more affordable, you'll have to wait. And Apple knows most people hate waiting, but let's talk about the real headline here. The foldable iPhone. After years of rumors, Apple's first foldable iPhone is expected to launch in fall 2026 alongside the iPhone 18 Pro models. And instead of doing something weird or experimental, Apple is going with a book-style fold similar to the Galaxy Fold or Pixel Fold. Closed, it looks like a normal phone. Open, it turns into a mini tablet. When folded, the outer display is expected to be around 5.3 inches. When you open it up, you get a massive 7.6-inch inner display. And Apple has been obsessing over thickness here. Some leaks say it could be as thin as 4.5 millimeters when unfolded. Others say closer to 4.8. Either way, that's insanely thin for a foldable, around 9 millimeters when closed. Apple clearly delayed this product until they felt it didn't look chunky or embarrassing. The outer screen will be fully usable when the phone is closed, but opening it gives you that big internal display that's meant for multitasking media and basically showing off that you paid way too much for a phone. Apple is expected to use a titanium casing, and they've put serious effort into minimizing the crease, which is the biggest complaint people have about foldables. And this is important. Rumors suggest Apple may have no visible crease at all, or at least one so subtle that you forget it's there. Apple reportedly chased this goal regardless of cost, which explains why it took them so long to enter the foldable market. They didn't want to ship something that felt compromised. To make that happen, Apple is using ultra-thin glass, with Samsung manufacturing the displays. The hinge is a mix of titanium, stainless steel, and liquid metal, all designed to reduce stress, improve durability, and keep that crease invisible. Camera-wise, the foldable iPhone is interesting. On the back, you get a main lens and an ultra-wide lens, both rumored to be 48 megapixels, no telephoto lens here, which feels like a trade-off Apple accepted to save space. On the inside, the big foldable display will reportedly use a 24 megapixel under-display camera, which would be a first at that resolution. The outer screen will still have a hole-punch camera for quick selfies when the phone is closed. One surprise, no Face ID. There just isn't room for it. Instead, Apple is expected to bring back Touch ID built into a button, similar to the iPad mini, which honestly might be refreshing. Battery life should be wild. The foldable iPhone could pack a battery between 5,400 and 5,800 milliampere, the biggest battery Apple has ever put in an iPhone. For comparison, the iPhone 17 Pro Max sits at just over 5,000. Apple knows this thing needs serious endurance. Now for the part that's going to hurt, pricing. The foldable iPhone could cost anywhere between $1,800 and $2,500. Yes, potentially double the price of a Pro Max. This is not a normal iPhone. This is Apple flexing. It'll also be eSIM only, no SIM tray, no surprises there. Meanwhile, Apple isn't abandoning the traditional Pro models. The iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are still coming, and they're getting some serious upgrades too. Design-wise, they'll look similar to the iPhone 17 Pro models with the triple camera setup, but there are rumors of a more unified back glass and frame finish. The Pro Max might get thicker and heavier, possibly becoming the heaviest iPhone ever at over 240 grams, which is a choice. The front of the phone is where things get spicy. Apple is experimenting with under-display Face ID. Some leaks say the dynamic island is gone entirely, replaced by a small hole punch camera in the top left. Others say the dynamic island stays but gets smaller. Apple itself seems undecided, which tells you this is cutting-edge stuff. Under the hood, the camera system is getting smarter. The main camera may get a variable aperture, letting you manually control how much light hits the sensor. That means better low-light shots, less overexposure, and more creative control. At least one Pro model could also get a new stacked image sensor from Samsung, improving speed, dynamic range, and noise reduction. Connectivity is getting a boost too. Apple's new C2 modem is expected in 2026, bringing better performance and possibly mmWave 5G, finally catching up to Qualcomm. And powering all of this is the A20 chip, built on TSMC's 2-nanometer process. The A20 could be up to 15% faster and 30% more efficient than the A19. Apple is also changing how the chip is packaged, integrating RAM directly onto the same wafer. That means faster performance, better AI features, and improved battery life at a higher cost. These chips are expensive, which is why they may be limited to higher-end models. As for the standard iPhone 18 and iPhone 18e, Apple is being very quiet. They're expected to launch in spring 2027, possibly with 12 gigabytes of RAM, a new 24-megapixel front camera, and a simplified camera control button that relies on pressure instead of capacitive touch. There's also the iPhone 18 Air, which may be delayed due to weak sales of the first model. Apple might add a second camera to make it more appealing and launch it alongside the standard models in 2027. So here's the reality. In September 2026, Apple will launch the foldable iPhone, the iPhone 18 Pro, and the Pro Max. Then in spring 2027, the regular iPhone 18, 18e, and possibly the Air will follow. This isn't just a new iPhone lineup. It's Apple testing how much people are willing to pay, how long they're willing to wait, and whether the idea of a normal iPhone even matters anymore. And once Apple changes the rules like this, they rarely go back. See you next one. Peace out.